Hello, God bless you, and welcome to episode 58 of Unshackled Life Q&A. My name is Dalen Woodard, and I'm a Bible teacher and assistant pastor at Nacogdoches Christian Fellowship and founder of Unshackled Life Ministries in Nacogdoches, Texas. These Q&As cover questions about God, the Bible, and theology, and we'll examine the questions from a biblical perspective and using biblical thinking, meaning approaching the question from a biblical worldview and using the text in context with the passage where it is found, as well as keeping it in context and agreement with the entirety of Scripture. At the end of the Q&A, I'll give you ways to ask your own questions for future episodes. Also, I'd like to thank the person who asked the question we'll be covering today. So let's get to it. Question: why is Ezekiel called Son of Man? Isn't that a Messianic title? Yes, the Son of Man is a Messianic title. It seems to be a way to identify the Messiah that Jesus was especially fond of, because he used it to refer to himself more than any other Messianic title. The title itself is from Daniel 7, where Daniel sees in his heavenly vision one like a Son of Man, or like the Son of Man, comes before the Ancient of Days and is given all dominion and authority for eternity. I am more fond of the use of the article the rather than a here, because when Jesus uses this title for himself, he always says the Son of Man. But like a Son of Man is probably more accurate. If the is the correct article, it's a title, the ultimate Son of Man, the one who is Son of Man and more, as the eternality of his sovereignty elevates the figure above all humanity. But what if it is like a Son of Man? Well, it's not really any different ultimately, as in that case, Daniel sees a figure who is like any human, just another Son of Man, which is what that phrase means. It just means a human being. So this figure is just like any human being, only he is also more, as is shown by the authority he is given. So, they get to the same place. This figure is like humanity, only he is also more, and it is a specific Son of Man, the one who will reign forever, which, with either article, is clear reference to the Messiah, and so it became a Messianic title. It's important to note and realize that Jesus clearly revealed himself as both God and the Son of God. You miss the truth of who he is without an understanding that he is God. But as is clearly shown by the fact that he called himself the Son of Man more than anything else, it's also important to understand that Jesus became one of us. He was truly human in every sense that all of us are, only he wasn't simply human. He is more. He is God, identifying with us as one of us in order to deliver us and draw us to himself. Jesus calls himself the Son of Man to emphasize this truth. He is human, but not any human, the ultimate human, the only one able and worthy to break the seals and sit on the throne. Well, I hope that makes sense, and we see why Jesus shows himself to be Daniel's Son of Man. But why is Ezekiel also called Son of Man? Ezekiel is called Son of Man over 90 times in the book that bears his name, but why? In the book of Ezekiel, we see that the prophet is given visions of the heavenly or spiritual realm. He tries to describe the strange and wondrous sights around him, and he is called Son of Man during these visions to emphasize his humanness in the midst of these spiritual beings. Sometimes we say things like, we aren't human beings, but rather spiritual beings in a human body. That sounds cool and spiritual and all wise and deep, but it's also quite wrong. We are spiritual beings, but we're also physical beings. Even in eternity, we will have new resurrected but physical bodies. In the visions, Ezekiel was different from the beings and creatures around him. He was human, a physical image bearer of God who has a spirit and a physical heart and mind. There isn't a separateness of our physical and spiritual aspects. Rather, holistically, God created us as both. So in a sense, Ezekiel is called Son of Man for the same reason Jesus is, to emphasize and make clear his humanity in a situation or place where one might expect them to be other. But in Ezekiel's case, he was only a human in relationship with God and used by God. But in the case of Daniel's Son of Man, fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ, it emphasizes both the humanity of the Messiah and the more than humanness of the one who is and was and is to come, the Messiah, God with us, Jesus the Christ. All right, thank you for listening. I hope the answer to today's question helped you in some way. If you have a question about God, the Bible, or theology, you can email your question to DalenWoodard@minister.com. That's DalenWoodard@minister.com. Or go to the Unshackled Life Ministries Facebook page and ask there or through DM. Find me, Dalen Woodard, on X and ask there or reply to this video on YouTube. May the Lord bless you and keep you and give you an ever-deepening hunger for His Word. Help us spread the Word by sharing, commenting, and clicking that like button. Keep up to date on the Q&As and Bible teachings by subscribing to this channel. And remember, when you fix your thoughts on God and build your thinking on the foundation of His truth, God fixes your thoughts.